He didn't know her name. He didn't know her story. All he knew was that she was crying. And he had $5 left in his pocket. He could have walked away. Most people did. But that single choice, made on a cold sidewalk, would come back years later and change his life in ways money never could. In a quiet American city where ambition often outpaced compassion, Daniel Brooks sat on the edge of a bus stop bench, staring at his empty wallet. 29 years old, recently laid off, rent overdue, and exactly $5 to his name. That $5 was meant for dinner, cheap sandwich, enough to keep the hunger quiet until morning. Daniel wasn't dramatic about his situation. He didn't complain. He believed hard times passed. Eventually, still tonight felt heavier. As Daniel stood to leave, he noticed her, a woman sitting on the curb near a closed cafe, head buried in her hands, shoulders shaking. She wasn't asking for money. She wasn't shouting. She was simply breaking. Daniel slowed his steps. He told himself it wasn't his business. He told himself he couldn't afford to care, but his feet stopped anyway. Daniel stood there for a long moment. $5. Dinner or dignity, security or humanity. He reached into his pocket. "Hey," he said softly. "Are you okay?" The woman looked up, startled. Her eyes were red, exhausted. "I'm sorry," she whispered. "I didn't mean to be a scene." "You don't have to explain," Daniel said. He placed the $5 bill gently beside her. "It's not much," he added. "But maybe it helps." The woman stared at the bill like it was something fragile. "You don't have to do this," she said. Daniel smiled faintly. "I know," he replied. "That's why it mattered." She took the money with trembling fingers. "Thank you," she whispered. "You have no idea what this means." Daniel shrugged. "Maybe one day," he said lightly, "you'll help someone else." He walked away hungry, but strangely lighter. That night, Daniel didn't eat. He drank water. He went to bed early. He ignored the ache in his stomach, but he slept peacefully, because for the first time in weeks, he felt like himself again. Weeks passed. Daniel found part-time work, then full-time hours. Slowly, life steadied. The woman faded into memory. Just another moment in a hard year. Or so he thought. 5 years later, Daniel stood in a crowded conference hall. He wore a borrowed suit. His resume was solid but unremarkable. This interview was a long shot. The company was selective. The competition fierce. When his name was called, he straightened his shoulders and stepped inside. At the head of the table sat a woman, confident, composed, eyes sharp with intelligence. Daniel felt something stir. Her voice, her gaze, familiar, but he couldn't place it. The questions were challenging. Daniel answered honestly. He didn't exaggerate. He didn't pretend. When asked about character, he paused. "I believe," he said carefully, "that who you are when you have nothing matters more than who you are when you have everything." The woman's expression softened. After the interview, the woman asked him to stay behind. "Daniel," she said gently, "do you remember a night about 5 years ago?" His brow furrowed. "A bus stop," she continued. "A closed cafe." His heart stopped. "You gave me $5, she said. "When you had nothing." It was her. That night, she had been deciding whether to give up entirely. Her startup had failed. Her marriage had collapsed. She was broken. That $5 wasn't about money. It was about being seen. If stories like this remind you that kindness always finds its way back, take a moment to subscribe to the channel and turn on post notifications, because the next story you hear might be the one that restores your faith in people. After that night, she rebuilt, slowly, relentlessly. The company Daniel now stood in front of was hers. "You're hired," she said. Daniel struggled to speak. "But not because of the money," she added. "Because of the man who gave his last $5 away." Years later, Daniel funded a scholarship. $5 framed on his office wall. Reminder: kindness multiplies. You never know which moment will echo back into your life. You never know who's watching when you choose kindness. And sometimes, your last $5 becomes the first step toward everything you ever needed.